Hey, everybody, welcome to the Game Junkie Show. I'm your host, Crystal, and today we are talking all about games we are hyped for. I got to tell you, gaming is a buffet, and we've been eating good for a few years now, and it looks like we finna eat real good for the next few years, too. So let me introduce you to, once again, every week, stellar guests on this show. Please welcome back Twitter's tallest gamer, Matt.
Thank you for having me. I think at this point, I'm wondering when it is that I'm going to be your most recurring guest.
I don't know. We may have to have a competition. We'll at the end of the year when we have the award show, we'll see who. And as always, I love first-time guests, so I am very, very pleased to welcome on the brilliant and beautiful Dana is here with us as well.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. So let's just dive right in. Matt, what I think Dana and I can guess what you might be excited about based on your background. Oh, by the way, my background, Black Thunder made this. If anybody isn't following him, check him out. He makes some fantastic graphics from God of War. Matt, I got a feeling we know what you're going to say, but what game are you fucking hyped for?
So I got quite the list here. A lot of it's coming from that PlayStation Showcase, and to address the elephant in the room, I'm pretty hyped for Wolverine. Just from that, it's like honestly, it's Spider-Man 2018 for me all over again. And that trailer that we got in 2016, where it was just like a teaser trailer, but then I was just like, oh, word, and like just incredibly hyped. So as I'm hoping that they deliver something like that X-Men Origins Wolverine game, where it's an M game. He can heal just like anything. Like he can go down to like a meat skeleton and then just heal himself. I'm really hoping that I'm hoping for some like The Last of Us 2 level brutality out of that game. And like I know that Daddy Disney, they own it. I know that they own Marvel and whatnot. Hopefully they're not gonna have too much say in it. I mean, obviously they would, but like I really hope that they respect the character and they know that the man's got knives coming out of his hands. He chops people up in the comic books. He's brutal. It's got to be M. It's got to be M. So that's probably that's one of the games that I'm most hyped for, probably out of everything that I've listed. Just the possibility of a great Wolverine game from Insomniac. I mean, they're probably my favorite developer right now. Them and Naughty Dog, I just think are probably two of the greatest developers of all time, and they've been around so long too at this point.
Yeah, I think that game is going to slap, and I'm going to share one here. I'm going to occasionally share some stuff from Twitter. We got our girl Wolfie, Jilly Jill. Everybody knows who that is. She sent me a list, but she's excited for Stray. How often do you get to play as a cat that delivers packages? She's an animal. She's an animal person. Like that game looks super cute. It looks hella fun. I think it's going to be a great pickup as well. Dana, give us one game that you are really hyped about.
Actually, I'm also hyped for Wolverine because it's one of my favorite characters of all time. And I really want it to be bloody. Like I think that they have the dude from The Last of Us Part 2, who is also gonna be an animator there. Like he's gonna, I think it's Sweeney. I don't remember his name, but I think that he's gonna work for Insomniac for this game. I don't remember. But yeah, I'm really excited for it too. I can't wait for it. I want to see more of it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited for it too. Despite my beautiful backdrop here, I am most excited for Horizon Forbidden West. Zero Dawn hooked me. That's one of the best games I've played in a long time. I love Aloy. I think Guerrilla's gonna just slap it. I am super, super. I mean, I'm crazy excited. Like I've already prepared my wife for the days in February where like these games are getting done. Don't talk to me. Like everything is planned around the release of this game. Let's jump on here and see. We've got quite a few coming from the Twitter sphere here. Zwan Guy, Octavian. We've got some folks excited for Halo Infinite. So just want to make sure to drop that for those. I think a lot of people who are into Halo are really going to love that title. Matt, let's go back to you. What other game are you? I think I know what you're going to say, but what other game are you super excited about?
Yeah, I got to get out of the way. I got to plug my boy Spider-Man. I think I talk about him every episode. Spider-Man 2. I'm hyped for that. I've been hyped for a sequel to Marvel Spider-Man since I rolled credits on that game. I still boot it up to this day. I still play Miles Morales. I didn't really understand what people were saying, like, "Oh, Miles is such a short game. There's like really nothing there to sink your teeth into." But they just must not play like I do. I'll just sit there for hours and just swing around. It's so therapeutic for me. I mean, and I've played so many Spider-Man games. There's no way that's not going to be just an absolute banger. I hope that it's like a Red Dead Redemption to Red Dead Redemption 2 or The Last of Us to Last of Us 2, and it just like blows it out of the water. It's just, you say what you want about the stories of, if you like the first one or the second one better or whatnot, but just the level of just technical prowess and I'm hoping just for, it already felt so good in the first one, but I'm hoping that it feels even better. And I don't know how I feel about the possibility of having to pick between two characters the whole game. I often don't really love that in a game. I like kind of sticking with one character in a game. I think the only time it really worked for me was GTA 5, which I'm not that excited about for PS5. But I'm very excited for Marvel Spider-Man 2. Venom is going to be in it. I mean, I'm hoping we're going to get that black suit Spider-Man. From the voice, I was really surprised to see people not immediately knowing that was Kraven the Hunter, but I think I just know too much about Spider-Man. But I'm hoping for just a, I'm hoping for a bigger map. I'm hoping that they give us the entire like GTA 5 map. That would be awesome. Um, sorry, GTA 4, the Liberty City. I hope that they give us the entire Liberty City map because it's like basically just New York. But yeah, I'm very, 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 very excited for that one. I think there's no way that's not going to be great. 2023 is a long way out, and that's actually, just to go back to Wolverine for a moment, I think that one's going to be a long time out because I heard it was an early development, and if Spider-Man is 2023, I don't think we're going to see Wolverine until maybe 2024. But
That's okay.
I'm very, very excited for.
I definitely will wait. I do want to say my buddy Tristan here is very excited for Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine. That's because Insomniac actually has phenomenal accessibility options. So the potential for that game to be played by a larger audience for people that have impairments is much bigger. So I thought that was pretty cool. I wanted to point that out. Dana, tell us another game that you are just fucking hyped for, man.
God of War. Look, I love like Norse mythology, and I've always wanted to see a different version of like Ragnarok in full, and I think to like live it and actually have a part in it, I think it's just awesome. I'm really excited for it. I love Kratos. I like Atreus. I know a lot of people were kind of like annoyed by him, but I didn't mind him. He was a bit of a annoying kid sometimes, but I mean, he's a kid, so it's fine. But I can't wait to see. I want to play him, actually. I want to play as him at some point.
Me too. I didn't like him at first. I really like him. I have a lot of feelings on that. I'm just going to say it. I'm okay if Kratos dies. Unsubscribe. Like everybody just unfollowed me. I'm okay if that happens. Freya, Dana, the Freya thing broke my I don't know if I have it in me to hurt Freya. That killed me. That's the part of God of War 2018 that just like fuck was the Freya thing. Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you want to like?
I don't mind Kratos dying too, because I think that he had a very like long, painful life. So I don't mind if like this is like the end, not necessarily die, but like just rest at some point. I think that he needs to rest, or at least have some sort of like a happy ending or some sort. I don't know. I just want him to be happy. I think that he's been through a lot of shit, and I just want him to have a peaceful ending somehow. But I feel like it's not gonna be that. I feel like someone is gonna wreck him, either Freya or Odin or Thor. Someone is gonna or maybe like Atreus is gonna end up killing him. Like maybe like what happens to like he killed his father, so maybe his son is gonna kill him somehow, like some sort of like a circle, karma, some shit.
Some shit. That's the best line ever. Karma or some shit. That's like the new phrase we're gonna use. Yeah, really when you look at games, heroes are never really happy, are they? Like if you look at the protagonists and the antagonists, I feel like some games I know it's borderline who the hero is, but I feel like heroes rarely get that. You don't get a happy ending being a hero, do you?
depends on some games. Some games are really like I don't have an example, but like sometimes it's like ends like a fairy tale or some stuff, and I always felt like it was unrealistic somehow. I like my characters to like have a rough life because it happens, you know. Like I mean, you're a hero, you have responsibilities, you're gonna make mistakes, and you have to pay for those mistakes. And I feel like a lot of people don't want their characters to have this to pay for their the consequences of their action. And I want to see that. Like it's human, so I want to see more of that.
I love that. I'm with you, Dana. I very much love consequences from games and from like storylines. I don't like all that like Disney happy ending bullshit all the time. Like I want to see life is nitty-gritty, and I like my fantasy content to reflect that. Jumping on here back to this Twitter sphere. Oh, all right. MJ wants to see Beyond Good and Evil 2. It feels like it might be canceled, but I really want to be a space tiger pirate. So Beyond Good and Evil 2. Matt, what else are you hyped for, my man?
Yeah, I think we've been in the PlayStation realm a little too long, so I want to jump over to Xbox because I was lucky enough to acquire a next gen Xbox. I'm gonna have to say I want to throw out two. One was already mentioned, Halo Infinite. Very very excited for that. I haven't played Halo in a really long time. I've been playing the Master Chief Collection because I got some free months of Game Pass, so that's been cool. Um, Halo 3 again. Halo 3 is just as good as it always was. Feels a lot slower than I remember it, but that's been really cool. So I'm excited to jump back into Halo Infinite, and I'm excited about it because the multiplayer is free to play. So that's awesome. Um, Even when my Game Pass expires, and if I'm thinking maybe I won't re-up right away because it's like I have such an extensive backlog in PlayStation that I don't feel like I need to be paying for Game Pass right now. I'll be still to be able to play Halo Infinite, so that'll be awesome. But what I want to talk about, other than Fable, which I'm also excited about, but there's really nothing to talk about there. I just big fan of the Fable games, very excited about that one. But Starfield, I'm excited for Starfield. It's one of the pretty much one of the reasons I bought the Xbox. But them owning Bethesda is the real is what made me be like, damn, I need an Xbox. They had me at hello with that, Skyrim in space. So Starfield, a Bethesda game, even if it's buggy at launch, like Bethesda was known to do, you know that they're going to deliver on an amazing experience. You know that they're going to be able to shape it into a better game. So I think Bethesda, for me, just personally, I'll speak for myself, they get the pass. I'll be a little bit more hesitant with that with CD Projekt Red in the future, but even they can get a kind of a pass from me because of Witcher 3. But Starfield just looks really cool. The images that I'm seeing, the different locations that I'm seeing, just the thought of an original IP from Bethesda in how long? I mean, we haven't had an original IP from Bethesda since actually developed by them since Skyrim, because Fallout they acquired Fallout. They didn't actually make Fallout, and even I don't even know what I was going to say. I don't know when the release date quite is for Starfield. Someone could remind me.
November 2022, somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay, so it's a little bit of a ways away, but I'm very excited for that. I'm a big sci-fi fan. I loved Star Wars growing up. I've since kind of fizzled out on that a little bit. I still watch it. I thought The Mandalorian was great, but not a huge fan of the sequel stuff. But big sci-fi fan. I liked. I didn't really watch much Star Trek growing up, but I'm a fan of those J.J. Abrams movies, and in general, just a big sci-fi fan. I love Mass Effect, so Starfield just looks very, very interesting. I'm very, very, very intrigued.
I'm excited for it too, but I got to be honest. I'm playing Fallout 4 for the 5th time, 400 years later, and it's bugged as shit. If Starfield is as buggy, I'm gonna consider dropping ties with Bethesda. But that's a whole new look. Bethesda unsubscribed to me before they ever subscribed to me. I want to point out that Wolfie Jilly Jill is really excited for the Knights of the Old Republic. She's super, super, super stoked. In case that doesn't make it on anyone's list,
that was on my list. Yeah.
Dana, what about you? What other game are you hyped for?
I was gonna say again, same as Matt, but like Starfield because I love space and I really enjoyed Skyrim. I think I played it for like 500 hours or something. I spent my entire college year just like playing it. It was really relaxing. So I really wanna, if they can deliver the same thing but in space, I'm actually excited for it. I bought an Xbox for like the future games, like Halo is looks interesting. So yeah, I want to see more of it though because we only had like a CGI trailer so far.
Mhm.
So yeah, I need to see more. And also Bethesda sometimes can have some like rough launches sometimes. So yeah, I don't want to have like the same thing as Fallout 76 with the 16 times the detail.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about that for a minute because Bethesda is kind of known for being buggy, and then 76 happened, and as a player base, we kind of said, you have to fix this." And I feel like they did. It took them time, but they did. So, if Starfield launches and it has the same kind of launch, Dana, and we don't see any major changes in like mechanics or the way the game operates, would you be disappointed?
Yeah, because I mean, as a gamer, we expect more now, and I'm tired of having the same bugs happening year after year after year. Like especially with like Bethesda, like there are long. It's a big studio, right? They have the manpower to deliver good games. So I don't understand why they always keep doing the same thing, like having buggy launches. Like it's annoying, you know. I mean, you pay for it and you expect something better than just like a buggy mess. Especially after Cyberpunk, like I'm done with that. Like I want a game to be like complete. I don't want to have to wait for like 10 patches and like download like hundreds of gigabytes of stuff. Like I want my game to be like ready. That's it's a new generation. You know, I want my games to be ready.
Yeah, I have high hopes. I hope that the cyberpunk effect and what happened with Fallout 76 and having a new engine does get some improvement. But I'm I'm very excited for Starfield 2. That's one of the reasons I'll be buying Series X and Obsidian. Love Obsidian. I thought the Outer Worlds was incredible. I am whatever the Outer Worlds 2 is. I'm there. I love Obsidian. I am absolutely there. Matt, what else are we hyped for?
Yeah, I want to jump over to Nintendo for a moment. There's not many games that I'm super hyped for with Nintendo. Admittedly, I really kind of only bought it for Breath of the Wild, but also because my wife really wanted one. So we bought one. And also, I love Animal Crossing. I'm a big Animal Crossing fan. So that's, another reason to have it. But Breath of the Wild 2, I'm hyped for. That looks, only a CGI trailer for it. But if it's anything like Breath of the Wild 1, I think we're in for a really great game.
When does that come out?
I don't think there's a release date on that one, but yeah, we'd have to follow up on that one. I'm not quite sure. It's definitely not 2021. Hopefully 2022, but yeah, they can take the time with that one. I think it's going to be great. If it's any like I'm hoping for a little bit more variety than Breath of the Wild 1. I think Breath of the Wild 1 is awesome, and the amount of player agency they give you, where you can just kind of like, if you want to go out and run and try to kill Ganon, and like immediately the second you get off the plateau, like you can do that. But I'm hoping that it's a little more than just shrine and rinse and repeat. But that being said, they just if it looks, the first one was really great, and this one looks interesting with the I love the art style that they're going for, and they really did reinvent the wheel when it comes to Zelda with that game. So I'm pretty excited for that one.
I think a lot of people are. Paige is excited for the next Mass Effect. She said she doesn't even care how far into the future that may be, but knowing there's going to be another Mass Effect makes her super excited. It looks like there's a lot of heart reactions to that one, so a lot of people seem to be excited. Dana, what about you? What else are we excited about?
Oh man, I don't know why, but I'm really excited for Elden Ring. It's just because a lot of my mutables are like super excited for it, and just seeing the hype makes me happy. And yeah, my goal is to finish Bloodborne and Dark Soul before January, so I don't have that much time left, so I can like play Elden Ring when it comes out.
There's going to be like Matt and Gurney and so many people are going to be so mad that this just now got brought up. Like we should have brought up Elden Ring at the very first. Now you've played some FromSoft games, haven't you, Dana? I'm pretty sure you've.
Man, I'm struggling, but I'm not really struggling, but I'm stuck in Bloodborne for now. Uh, it was going well. Then I got to this fucking spider, and I don't like spiders.
Me neither. That's why I won't do it. Everybody keeps trying, like, no sleep constantly. He's like,
Yeah,
play
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bloodborne, play Bloodborne. I'm like, there's a fucking spider, bro. It's not
Look,
gonna
it's an
happen.
amazing game. I mean, the spider is not. It's an optional boss, so it's fine. But it's a really amazing game, and I really fell in love with Bloodborne. I'm not finished with it yet, but I still think it's one of the best games of this generation, of the last generation, actually. So yeah, I'm excited for Elden Ring, but I have to finish the Dark Souls series, and then then I'll see how it goes.
I commend you. Like, that is a feat. Like, people who say, I'm gonna beat my head against this wall. That is phenomenal. Like, I love you for doing that. I'm gonna give Elden Ring a try. It will be my first FromSoft game. We're gonna see how it goes. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try for you, for my Twitter friends. I'm gonna try my best to get through one of those, so I can finally message you, Dana, and be like, oh my god, I get it. I understand the formula. My life is complete. I understand everything. Matt, what else are you excited for?
So funny enough, a lot of what I wrote down has come up already. I also wrote down the next Mass Effect, but so since that was said, I won't talk about that one.
Okay, if you want to talk about it, if you like, this is what the show's for. If you want to talk a little bit about it, talk a little bit about it, man.
Yeah, I'll throw that one out there. I mean, that one definitely, I'm definitely excited for that because I'm most excited for that because they're ignoring Andromeda, it seems like. So I'll leave it at that. But what I think I would like to go with is, because we've already talked about Skyrim, is I'm pretty excited for the Elder Scrolls 6. Um, just from that trailer that they showed with the grass, I was already in. It looks like it put me in that environment. That looks incredible. I love Skyrim. Just like Dana said, I spent my college years with Skyrim. I remember the day that came out. I literally left class. I like skipped class to go buy it, and my teacher. It was that old like, oh, my teacher's 15 minutes late. I can leave now, and it doesn't. That old rumor. So I did that, and I was on the train, and I got to my my exit, and I was walking by a place that sold video games. It wasn't a game store, but it was like a wholesale place that like department store that sold video games. And I was like, Skyrim, they probably have it. And I literally walked in there, I bought it, and then I played it for a few hours before I had to go to work. And I had a little bit of a bumpy road with Skyrim because of the amount of bugs, kind of like we discussed with Bethesda. But out of any single game, I've probably bought that the most because I had it on Xbox 360. I had it on PS3. I had it on PS4. I own it on Switch. I still have it on PS4 actually. I own it for Switch. I don't have it on a smart fridge, but I think you can do that now. But yeah, I mean, I love the Elder Scrolls. I never got into Oblivion because like I was out of that age range when they came out. But like I'm just a gigantic Skyrim fan. I stand by the fact that I think that they have one of the best bow and arrow systems in any game I've played. I love that bow and arrow system, and I know that's the default, like the sneaky archers, what everyone just kind of defaults to eventually, but it works, and the arrows are awesome. I love that there's no carry weight to the arrows, so you can just have like a whole bunch of them. I'm the kind of gamer who would go into the dwarven ruins, find all the materials that turn into arrows, and then just over encumber myself, and then just walk really, really slowly out of it. But then I also found the trick that if you become a werewolf, you can ignore your over encumberdness. So yeah, really love the Elder Scrolls. Big Bethesda fan, and they can take their time on that one. I don't care if it's another 4 or 5 years before that game comes out. I'm very excited for it.
Are we positive? I mean, we're positive it is coming out. Is that correct? Like we know there's another one, or are we speculating there's another one?
There was a trailer. So I know that it was announced.
Okay.
My only fear is that now I don't have to have that fear because I do own an Xbox, but it could be an Xbox exclusive. I honestly think that Bethesda would be foolish to cut off the PlayStation market from an Elder Scrolls game. But I guess that's all Microsoft. Microsoft can make that decision. It would be pretty big. It would be a pretty big exclusive. But it just feels weird to me to make like not an original IP an exclusive. I feel like if it's already an established title, there's a whole player base on PlayStation that loves the Elder Scrolls. It would just strike me as a little odd. I mean, no matter what, I'm gonna buy it, and maybe I'll even just buy it on Xbox to because I own one. But I'm definitely gonna get that. It looks I guess it's nothing to say that it looks awesome because there's only been one trailer for it. But I mean, if it's anything like the pedigree that they already have established, it's going to be a great game.
You know, if it weren't for exclusives, what would people argue over? I mean, we have to have things to fight about on Twitter. We have to
Oh
have
boy.
things to argue about. Dana, what else are you excited for? What else do you, even if somebody already said it, if you want to talk about something, like let's talk about it.
Forsaken looks interesting. I think it's coming out next year. This year, I'm confused about the dates, but it's coming soon. Maybe Forsaken
For Forspoken,
or Spoken. Sorry.
that one, yeah. Now, didn't that have a
Yeah, the
different
one with the
name?
chick and the power or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was like
was it?
Project Athia. Project
Yes,
Athia or
and
something
then
like
wasn't it at one point called something else too?
that. Sure.
No, it was Project Athia, and now it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Forspoken. Okay, that looks
Just
talk about that. Talk about that because that looks good as fuck.
yeah, it looks good. Like the gameplay looks amazing, and the environment looks good too. I don't really know much about the story, but I don't really mind. I don't like when they say too much about the story or they show too much. It piqued my interest, but yeah, it looks good. I like female protagonists, so I want to play more of that.
Now, you said something, and now I have to ask you additional questions, Dana. I kind of taught myself not to look too much into games because I've let my own level of hype disappoint me before, and there's been things that have been on me. I like that I'm getting to the point where I like the mystery that's in games. There was something I saw right smack in the middle of that PlayStation event, had something to do with Radiohead. It was like amnesia. Do you know what I'm talking about, Dana? Did you see it?
I
It was
think so. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what? Okay, like what the? I mean, as somebody who kind of likes a little bit of mystery, does that intrigue you a little bit?
It does, but there were like so many other things that I just slipped my mind. I just remember that I saw something. I don't really know what it is.
But the game's about amnesia, so maybe you were supposed to forget.
Maybe.
Huh?
Maybe that was the point. But yeah,
Yeah.
speaking about hype, the problem with Cyberpunk is that they released way too many trailers to the point that it was too much. And when we got to the game, it was really, really different. And from now on, I was like, I don't want to see any gameplay. I don't want to see any trailer. Just give me the minimum, like pique my interest, and that's it. Like there's a fine line between too much marketing and not enough. And sometimes that line is like crossed. Like Cyberpunk did that too. Deathloop, they released I don't know how many like freaking teaser and gameplay and whatever. Like the same thing happened. I mean, it's a good game apparently, but like when there's too much trailers and like gameplay and whatever, like it just no, I just shove it aside. I mean, I didn't do that for Cyberpunk. I bought it day one and I regret it. But like,
Yeah.
that's why I stopped like watching like trailer. I just watched it once and that's it.
Well, they were. I mean, I ended up loving Cyberpunk, but they were grossly negligent. Like they screwed us. They lied in all kinds of. I'm going to call a spade a spade. Y'all sucked when you did that. Deathloop. I kept looking at the marketing for Deathloop and going, no, this really doesn't look good. And turns out it's a great
Good.
game. And it was like the
Yeah,
marketing was nothing like it. So that is kind of interesting. Let me ask you then, Dana. Horizon Forbidden West had a very lengthy, almost a 20-minute display. Did they share too much? Did they share enough? What are your thoughts on that?
No, because I think they shared like a little bit of the story, but they showed the gameplay actually, and it just like showed the new mechanics and the new graphics. So I think it was fine, and I feel like they're gonna deliver. Like it feels like it. Whether like with Cyberpunk, it was just like throwing out like trailer, like look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that, and everyone was talking about it. Like every YouTuber, every like, so it really felt like everyone was like, oh, it's gonna be awesome, it's gonna be awesome, it's gonna be awesome. Look how awesome it is, and they won like prizes and they won stuff before the game came out.
Did they ever? They never showed gameplay. They just showed cut scenes. Correct?
They showed an 18-minute gameplay, and it was kind of good. It was really good, and that's what like sold me. I was like, oh yeah, the gameplay looks really good. I was in 2018. I think in E3 they showed that, and
Yeah.
that part is good, and it was the only good part in the game for me. I feel like they did it. That was the part that was really polished, and then it was just like they didn't have time to finish the rest. That's what I mean. Yeah, that's that's why I bought the game. It was because of the E 2018
Yeah,
showcase.
I do remember seeing that. I pre-ordered the game. I got the steelbook and stuff, and it's good on. It's actually good on PC. It's but it's like they for oh wait that oh that's we were supposed to make it for consoles too. Our bad. Thank you
I,
for
I
buying it though.
I played it on PS4 Pro.
Ooh.
Pro. But I took 3 days off work. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna play this game. I was really hyped, and then I installed it. I started, and I was like, oh my god. It looked like someone. I don't like. There was this weird like effect on it. Like there was this like HDR was really messy, and it looked like someone put like pink Vaseline all over my TV.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? So I was like tweaking like the video, and I was like, whoa, this looks really bad. And I had a very good TV. Like I have one of like top notch TV. And I was like, okay, what the fuck? And then it was just buggy, and it was like bugging. And I was like, oh no, what's happening? And like it would crash. I was like, no.
Yeah,
And then I went to work, and I looked miserable.
that's funny when you said Vaseline. Did you guys ever see the movie Striptease with Demi Moore?
I know what
No,
you're talking about. I know what you're talking about though.
Okay, Dana, have you seen that movie?
no.
Um, there's a part, Matt. There's a part where Burt Reynolds is almost nude, and he's only in boots, and he's covered in Vaseline. I feel like the disappointment that Dana was experiencing when the game, because the game was bad. I tried it on PS, it was terrible on older systems. Like Burt Reynolds should have just walked in the door covered in Vaseline. Like I just feel like that was in a like because that was kind of when it happened in the movie. It was funny, but it was scary at the same time. And you said that, and my brain immediately thought of like him walking in the room, like, "Ha, this game sucks on PS4." Because I'm sorry, my brain is this
No,
is
it's
just
fine. It's fine. It's actually funny. But yeah, it was shocking. I was like, no. Yeah, I
yeah,
couldn't get a refund because I had the physical copy, and so
yep,
I'm stuck with the physical copy.
same too.
It's
But I
still there
did
somewhere.
end up playing it PS5. I got through it twice. I love Judy. I love Carrie. I love River. I love Penn. It's not a terrible game, but it was a terrible launch, and they didn't give what they promised. And there's still a lot of turds that are polished in it, and I get it. I get the frustration. I do. It's
I actually
unfortunate.
want to play it again. I'm just waiting for the upgrade, the PS5 upgrade, so I can see what I'm missing.
Yeah.
But
I,
so far, I need some time off from this game. So it's like it's in my no box. I have a box of things that I don't want to like see. That is
yeah.
somewhere. in the
I
past.
hope they have an. I don't know if they're going to be able to have the kind of redemption arc that like No Man's Sky or Fallout 76 had, but I do hope at some point the developers can end up saying, okay, people like our work enough that we feel less like shit. Like that's just all I kind of want for them because that's blood, sweat, and tears, and that's hard to do that much work and have. That was rough. Joey here. Oh God, we have a list. You guys are gonna have to help me. Let's see. He's excited for Final Fantasy 16, Metroid Dread, Metroid Prime 4, and SMTV. What the fuck is
I
SMTV?
am not
Does
sure.
anybody know what
No,
SMTV? Dana, do you know what SMTV is?
Nope.
Holy shit! Nobody knows what that is. We're gonna have to Google this. Joey, what the hell?
yeah, that's surprising.
SMTV game? Oh, Shin Megami Tensei. It's a Switch game. Shin Megami I don't know how to say the shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I see.
Oh, yeah, that was made by Atlas. I should have known that. I didn't know that. I'm sorry, Joey. I don't know what abbreviations are. I apparently don't know the English language. Sorry about that. What else are we hyped for? Matt, what else are we hyped for?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw out another Xbox exclusive. In the Indiana Jones game. I think that looks very intriguing. Indiana Jones was a big part of my childhood. Harrison Ford's probably my favorite actor of all time, or up there, one of them. I mean, he's Han Solo and Indiana Jones. I mean, he was the 1980s, right? I mean, he's Jack Ryan. You know, I mean, he's so handsome. Like, look at him in the early days, and his story too. Just an aside, this is all of a sudden this is a Harrison Ford podcast now. He was a carpenter. You know, like he wasn't even like he was like for all intents and purposes, he was a failed actor. You know, and Star Wars, he wasn't even supposed to be Han Solo. He was just reading lines for George Lucas as like a favor. You know, he was literally went back to being a carpenter. He was like doing repairs. I think like building a doorway in Francis Ford Coppola's house. Like for those who don't know, listening, the director of The Godfather. Like he was just doing a repair job in his house. And then I'm pretty sure George Lucas came by and like asked him to read lines. He'd pay him for it, and then he just had such this raw charisma, and he put him in the group with Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, and the rest is history. So and then right after Empire, he went on to do Indiana Jones, and say what you will about kind of I guess it is a kind of a tropey movie, but really it kind of created a lot of those tropes that people look back on. Like people call Uncharted basically just Indiana Jones, or Tomb Raider just Indiana Jones. And
I was going to ask that. Do you think Indiana Jones will feel like a Tomb Raider or an Uncharted game, since those games were, they seem to be very, very based on
yeah.
Do you think it's going to feel like that?
Yeah, I guess we'd have to wait until a gameplay trailer comes by. For some reason in my head, I think of it like, I wonder if they're going to do like a first person game, but I feel like it might make more sense for like a third person like action adventure. Because like you're gonna want to see him use the whip, you're gonna want to see him like use it to like traverse stuff and whatnot. But yeah, it's a great question. Hopefully they can do something original with it. I hope that they got to go young Indiana Jones. I don't want to play old man Indiana Jones. I don't even consider the fourth one like an existence, and like I'm not really that excited for the fifth one.
What's wrong with us old people, Matt?
Well, I'm in the boat. I'm in the camp too. Like I'm getting there definitely. But just like I just mean like he's like he's in his late 70s. It's like, are we really gonna put him back in the fedora?
I didn't realize he was that old.
He's getting up there. Well, I'm excited for it. I want to go. I want to go shoot some. I wonder if they're going to go Russians or Nazis. I wonder what they're going to do for that. Because or maybe they're going to do like a prequel kind of thing. Maybe it'll be like Temple of Doom, where he's in India. Who knows? It's very exciting. It's going to be an Xbox exclusive. I think that could be a really big grab for them. An exclusive indie game.
I think that's a big one. Dana, I want to hear what you think about, like, because when we think Bethesda, I think we think, Skyrim and Fallout, which
bugs.
Well, yeah, but is Bethesda and a lot of game developers are guilty of this. You stick with what works, right? If you look at like Naughty Dog, even though they've had multiple IPs, you kind of see that the camera angles and the mechanics are very similar. So it's very easy for developers to be a little myopic and get looked at as a one-trick pony. But I don't see Indiana Jones working if it's just like the other games they've made. So Dana, what do you think? Like, what are your thoughts on Bethesda doing something radically different with this?
I don't think they will do something different. Sorry.
Fair enough.
I think they're gonna reuse some of the mechanics they used before. I think that every developer does that. They find like the right combination, and they just keep doing the same combination over and over again. And sometimes when they try to do something different, it doesn't appeal to a lot of people, so they go back to their old ways. Like Ubisoft did that with like Assassin's Creed. It started something completely different, and I don't know why they did that, but it's just. And then again, they stuck to the same loop where it's just like the same stuff over and over again for like the next 5-6 years. So
that's true.
It can go either way. Maybe they're gonna start something new and they're gonna stick with it again, or maybe they're gonna just keep going the same way. I really don't know. And again, I don't have that much high hopes for Bethesda. I love the studio before, but I feel like they've been using the same formula over and over again. Which
is fair. Do you think it will be linear, or do you think Bethesda will stick with that kind of RPG vibe? It's hard for me to imagine Indiana Jones as in my brain, I'm thinking of it as a linear experience. But what do you think an Indiana Jones game at least should be?
Probably, I think if they stick with something linear, people are gonna be like, "Oh, it looks like Uncharted or Tomb Raider or something." So I feel like they're gonna have to be, "Oh, well, it's like Tomb Raider but an RPG, so you can make choices and blah blah blah." So I feel like they're gonna go down the path of like RPG and choices and stuff like that. But at the same time, I feel like it's Indiana Jones. It's like a movie. A lot of people know a lot about it, so I don't know how much they can add RPG element to it. So I'm just confused. I don't know what it's gonna look like.
Well, I think it's a great point. I didn't even think if we made it linear, it might look like a duplicate of these other games. So I think that's great. I think that's definitely a really good opinion and something I didn't even think of. So maybe Indiana Jones could work as a neat sandbox for a game that does kind of have choices in it. Could definitely be neat. Let's see what else. The Twitter. Oh, this is a good one that we completely missed, and it's about to drop. Alan Wake remastered.
Yes.
Madman brought up Alan Wake remastered, so that's an interesting one there. Gamer is with you, Dana. He is excited for the PS5 drop of 2077, and also whatever it is that Blue Point Games does next. Does anybody have any ideas on what you think Blue Point Games is going to do next? I couldn't tell. I have no idea. Not a clue.
Look up an original. I mean, they do a really good job with their remasters, but an original IP could be interesting for them.
I mean, original IPs are hard, right? I love them, but it's more expensive and it's more challenging to create. And I feel like there are a lot of remasters coming our way because there's a lot of newer people getting into gaming, and we have TV shows and movies now that are kind of bringing. Well, I mean, I'm sure the goal is to say, well, we have a Witcher TV show and another Spider-Man movie and a Uncharted. Fuck, I can't even keep up, right? So we have
Last of Us.
Oh
Yeah,
yes, that one. So they're going to try to. I'm sure they're going to use that to try to get.
Ghost of Tsushima also. They want to make a movie out of it.
You're right. And Twisted Metal. They're making a Twisted Metal movie.
Yeah, with Anthony
Mackie.
Yeah.
So that could certainly the mark. Could we see a Twisted Metal reboot? It would make sense. I mean, from a marketing perspective, you hook people on the television content and try to sell them in the game. Would you guys play a Twisted Metal reboot or like a? I mean, were you guys into that? I fucking loved the first Twisted Metal. I would play it.
I've never played it.
I played it back in the day. I don't remember it that well, but from what I remember, it was kind of like a demolition derby kind of game, right? Like you were in a car, you could like kind of shoot. Couldn't you like those guns? Like a relief gun aspect to it, right? It was like you'd at least like shoot at other players and whatnot, or like the NPCs and whatnot. Yeah, I didn't play it that much, honestly, but it could be interesting. I mean, I can't imagine what a story about it would be, though. Is he going to be the clown? You know, but
I don't. Well, the first one had it kind of reminded me. If I had to describe it to somebody, so if Dana's never played it before, I would say think Mortal Kombat kind of with cars. So it's like it's a competition. There's this. I don't remember if he was a demon or something along the lines, but he could grant the winner of the Twisted Metal competition any wish they wanted. So you had people competing to like bring dead people back to life or like so you had all these people wanting to get this, but it actually made sense. And each of the vehicles was a different person and they had a backstory. And if you beat the game as that person, your individual wish came. So you kind of wanted to beat the game as every vehicle. It was actually a really fun game. I want to say it was an OG PS game that I played entirely too much. What else?
Did it come out, though?
Holy shit! Hold on, let's go to the internet because I think a lot of people missed that. Twisted Metal game. When did the first one come out? I think
PlayStation 1 era, right?
Yeah. Release date? Let me look up release date.
That might have been a game from the original DualShock without the analog sticks even.
Yeah, this is saying they made it for PS3 in 2012, but I know there was a version before that. There was an original PlayStation version. Somebody watching or listening is going to know and going to be able to tell us, but I'm almost positive the original version was on it had to be on PS1 because I feel like I was finishing high school when that was around the PS1 days.
When I was a kid and I wasn't allowed to play games.
Yes. So Dana was a child when I was almost an adult. So that's the moral to the story that we got here. What else are we? Let me look at Jill because Jill has sent a whole lot of stuff that she is excited about. I'm talking like a giant list, you guys. Dragon Age 4,
Oh yeah.
Project Eve. Oh, you guys. She brought up one that I cannot believe nobody brought up yet on Twitter or us. Black Myth Wukong.
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
that's really
Akira is
really
really into that.
Yeah, that game. Dana, why don't you talk about that game? Like, do you think that game looks cool?
It looks cool, but I didn't see that much of it. I think that Akira, I think it's him, who
Mhm.
posted a lot about it. The gameplay looks amazing, but I don't know much about it. I didn't like look into it. Like I said, I'm trying to don't watch like too many trailers because I'm like I don't want to like get saturated with that. So I know that some people are hyped for it, but other than that, I don't really have much information about it.
I remember seeing a little bit of gameplay, and I don't remember where, but it might have been Mo's show, the Backlog Chronicles. I don't remember, but it actually looks pretty. I mean, it looked visually, it looked good. It looks like it's going to have good combat. It visually looks good. Matt, are you kind of excited about that?
Yeah, I think that actually does look really interesting. I'm pretty sure it's based off of Journey to the West. I'm pretty sure, classic, Chinese mythology tale.
I think you're
Funny,
right.
yeah. Funnily enough, the main character is actually essentially Goku, Dragon Ball Z. He's based off of that character, of that monkey character. That's why the Saiyans have tails.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
It's
That's why, and they turn into monkeys, and they turn into great apes.
it looks pretty. I mean, we don't know much about it, but looking at the little bit that I saw of some gameplay in the world, it looks pretty good. Let's look at some more Nintendo love here. The Fool, I'm not calling him that. That's his username, folks. The Fool is very excited for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Dana, why don't you talk about that a little bit? If it excites you, talk about
Like
it.
I bought the Switch because I wanted to play Pokemon. Pokemon. I have a Switch Lite actually, but yeah, I've been playing Pokemon since I was a kid, so I've never really been disappointed until like Sword and Shield. That was kind of like a weird one, but like the new one looks pretty good. I think it's gonna be a day one buy for me. I think I'm gonna buy it. I'm still waiting to see a little bit more of it, but yeah, I think it looks promising.
I wish I knew. I just recently, my wife is very big into Pokemon. She plays a lot of Switch. She doesn't play Gran Turismo 7. I have to say, I'm excited about that because they're bringing back the split screen couch co op, and my wife will wreck me in that. She will throw me off the course, explode my car. Like she's just ruthless, but she'll play that with me, and I rarely can get her to play these fancy games that are complicated with all these buttons. She loves Pokemon. Dana loves Pokemon. Plays Animal Crossing. I got her a new Pokemon game the other day. I don't know what it's called, but you're literally fighting like Mortal Kombat fighting, like pew pew pew, toot, 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 toot. Like,
Oh
you know which one that is?
no, I don't remember.
It's
The one where
really.
they're wearing scarves. What was that one? Like they have like red scarves on, and they're like done some over Dungeon Crawler. I don't remember the name of
I
it.
don't know, but she was like entering an arena because the Pokemon they're cute. Like when they evolve, I help her name them funny names. So like sometimes I watch her play because I play Magic the Gathering. I don't really know much about Pokemon, but it was like She was like Liu Kanging the shit out of people. I was like, what? And I'm like, what are you? They're like for real fighting. So it's like some kind of arena style, like pa 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 pa
Like
pa.
Mortal Kombat, but for Pokemon?
Yeah, it's fucking Pokemon Mortal Kombat, and I
That
can't
must
think
be
of the name of it.
traumatizing.
It looks so cool. I was like, I might fucking play that. That might be a Pokemon that I might get down on. Somebody that's watching or listening will know the name of it, or I'll find it out from her, and let you guys know because I cannot remember. John McBaugh is excited for Shin Megami Tensei 5 or V. I don't know enough about it. Sorry about that there. Jesus, what else are we hyped for? Kenna looks.
Oh yeah, it was cute.
Not like next week
I,
or like soon, right? Like I've seen like no trailers for that. Very surprising.
it. I mean, I'm not like super hyped for it, but it does look like. I think it might actually be a sleeper. I think it might be one of those games that actually ends up being really good, but we all kind of like because it looks kind of cartoony.
Nothing wrong with cartoony. Ratchet and Clank was amazing. Yeah, it looked like
It
a
was.
Pixar movie. It looked like a Pixar movie.
It was.
New
I just.
Ratchet.
the little cute little like the little black cute. I don't know what they are. They're like the little. You know what I'm talking about, Dana? The cute little things in
Yeah, yeah,
Kena.
yeah, yeah.
It's like a cute little blob. I just want those things to follow me around. If I'm being honest, I'm just kind of excited for that.
Yeah, they look cute. They look cute.
I am excited for Death Stranding Director's Cut.
Yes.
Never played Death Stranding.
No.
I will admit, I never played it. I tried to get into 2 Metal Gear Solids. I couldn't do it. Maybe I'm not smart enough to understand Kojima. I haven't I haven't been sold. And you're one of the people that kept saying things about it. And I said, I have to play this with an open mind. I have to try and fully experience the brilliance of Kojima. So that will be happening soon.
I have to say, you have to be patient. That's what I keep telling people. Like, be patient, be open minded, because it takes a while to like click. You know, like you struggle a lot. Like it's just, I mean, you're carrying stuff. You know, like it sounds boring for some people, but to me, it was really like about you. Like you have to plan your road. You have to like manage your inventory, but not just that. You have to think about other people too. You know what I mean? Like the minute I started playing the game for other people, I'd be like, oh yeah, I have to like, maybe I'll bring an extra ladder for someone, or maybe like I'll leave this rope for someone, or maybe I'm gonna give. It made the experience better, and I felt like the more I shared, I felt like people were sharing back. You know what I mean?
That sounds cool.
The excitement of building a road with other people is so good. Like, oh, like we're building this bridge, or someone narrated this thing, other person, and it makes the game easier. Like the more you keep that in mind, like, oh, I'm playing this game for other people, it makes the game easier. At least in my head.
That's what convinced me, because I looked at it and I'm like, the guy's walking around, and I mean, I was one of those people that was like, yeah, it's probably not for me. I don't know that I'll like the gameplay. But I think I remember I made a Twitter post saying, try to sell me on the game. And you and a lot of other people talked about how it kind of goes from isolation to a multiplayer impact. And I was like, that's
Yeah.
kind of, I think there are some people that understand. To me, video games is a very special way to tell a story that other mediums can't replicate. Like I can watch a good story on TV. I mean, I can read a good book, but video games are so different because even if it's linear, I hold the power. I press the buttons. I decide at least some of the strategy in like the fights. So I'm kind of thinking to myself that this Kojima guy might be a fucking genius and understand this, and I really need to give it that.
I think he is, in my opinion, is a genius. I really love this guy. I love his stories, and I love the way he tells them. You know, he's not afraid of trying crazy stuff. And yeah, like I said, I think I said it in my post, but like this training is really about you are struggling with other people to make it better somehow. It's like you're not struggling alone. There's a lot of players around the world are going through the same shit as you. Like you're going through this experience. It's really difficult, but like if you help together, it makes things easier. You know, so it just, to me, that's like the thing that really drove me to play this game over and over again.
So then let's talk a little bit more about Kojima. I don't think there's anything else in the works necessarily to be hyped about, but I did see that he mentioned he wanted to create some kind of game that changes based on you as the player. Did you see that?
Yeah.
What I don't even know what to think. I mean, the guy's obviously a genius.
I mean, I live in Quebec, so I don't know what how it's like. It says like it's going to affect depending on where you live and how you feel about it. And I don't want to know how he's gonna implement that. You know what I mean?
How you feel about it?
I mean, could it? I mean, there's a ton of technologies out there. I mean, there's APIs for almost everything. So I feel like if you're discussing technology or software, it isn't really a question of can I do it? It's can I afford to do it? I feel like just about I mean, everything has a fucking app. Anything is possible, but how do you? And I know there was rumors about him wanting to do like a cloud-based game. I don't know if that somehow would integrate with. I mean, I don't know. Would it be a game that the weather, like, could you connect to a worldwide weather app and the weather could literally change in the game where it is where you are? Like,
no. I live in a very historic city. I'm like, no.
but I mean, that's like trying to theorize that. I don't even know how to process that. It's
I
just
don't know
kind of
how he's gonna. It's why it's very weird because it really said it's a game that's going to adapt to where you live somehow, like in his head, and how you feel about it. So how you feel about it is intriguing to me. Like he's how he's gonna know how I feel about my life in this city. You know what I mean? Like it's such a weird thing.
let me look this up so we can like because this is kind of a neat thing to talk about. He says, "What I want to do is make games that change in real time. People of all ages and professions are playing the same game, but everyone is playing the same way. Instead, it's something that changes depending on where you live and how you feel about it." What's the it? Is what I want to know. How you feel
Yeah,
about like the game or your okay, Kojima then goes
my
on to
life.
reference yeah, well, I'll make a game about my life. Kojima goes on to reference a game called Boktai, The Sun is in Your Hand, a Game Boy Advance title that Kojima developed, which had players use a light sensor on the game's cartridge to fight vampires, encouraging players to play the game outside during the day rather than at night. So it somehow interacted with the brightness outside.
If it's the brightness outside, I'm also screwed.
Uh, let me see if I can find. Yeah, that's he's what's Kojima. So that's like pretty much all he says, and he's not saying anything else. So that's not. I mean, that's not really very helpful,
I'm
is it?
actually sad about PT because it looks. I mean, the teaser for that look like I played that and it really scared the shit out of me. So when I play a game like a horror Kojima game, and I feel like he's I mean he's an amazing director. So I really want to play like a very scary game from Kojima.
What happened? Now PT was playable trailer, which was actually
Yeah,
like a film that you was it kind of like Erica, where you kind of controlled the direction of it. Was it like an interactive movie?
I don't remember because I mean it's been a while, but I just remember the feeling of it. I remember that it was just creepy. And I think that it was supposed to be Silent Hill. I mean again I don't remember. And like it just there's some problem with Konami and then he just like left or some shit. I don't know what happened to that.
I was going to ask you that if is that the project that kind of got booted because him and I don't know what happened with him and Konami, but I know they parted ways not very amicably. Jesus, amicably. Why is that so hard? I'm not even drinking. Okay.
Actually, I think that the beer that I have is kind of strong because I'm feeling a bit like woo.
maybe Dana's breath is coming through the Zoom and through my. Maybe that's how Kojima's going to do it.
Oh my god, yeah.
We just figured out that we're like pew pew. We're sending signals. And he's going
Funny
to do
thing,
some.
when I see people drinking, I get somehow drunk.
Thank
By
you for
proxy.
saying that. Thank you for saying that. Here's why. My wife and several of my friends gave me so much shit one day. Okay. We had on Netflix, you can like load these or on YouTube. You can it's like a screensaver that moves. You can do like a fish tank, an ocean. They had a little crackling fireplace. I put on the crackling fireplace. I swear to you, Dana, I got hot. I swear to you, I was like, it's very hot in here. I was complaining. Like I'm so mentally connected to what I see. Maybe that's why I love video games so much is I feel like even when I stop playing for a little bit, it takes me a little bit of time to get out of the
Like,
world. Like when I'm in the real world and I look at a ladder and I'm like, there's loot up there. Like I need to climb up there and get that. Like everything I think is like but yeah, I got fucking hot. So maybe I'm getting drunk watching you drink, and I got fucking hot
maybe.
watching a fire because I can't be trusted apparently. What else? God, are there any big releases that we missed that we didn't share hype about?
I got one I could throw out.
What
Being
is
that
it?
I love Hitman so much from IO Interactive, I'm very intrigued by the prospect of a James Bond game from them.
Ooh,
If it's anything like Hitman, or I'm not sure how it could be like Hitman, but maybe like mission based, like not mission as in like a game mission, but like his missions that you send him out on. Maybe you have to like prepare like in Hitman, how like you can get do your loadout or whatnot. There's certain parameters that you could like that could affect how you play, like your entry point or the outfit that you're in and whatnot. But yeah, I'm not sure how that would work though, because like you definitely got to be able to drive the car. There's no way that they don't let you drive an Aston Martin in that game. So maybe it'll be open area or more open world than Hitman is, because Hitman's. I mean, there are open areas in Hitman, but they're not like you're not getting in a car or anything. You're just walking around and kind of doing what you do. But you know, Hitman 3 is definitely a contender for Game of the Year for me. I love their just the way they developed that game. Just like their level design is like bar none. Their locations in that game are so good. And the thing that gets a little hazy with me is that since I have the entire Hitman series, I can access all of Hitman in the Hitman 3 engine. So it's like if you're going to consider the Game of the Year, I guess you can only consider the levels that came out for Hitman 3. But that's awesome though that like since I owned Hitman 1 and since I owned Hitman 2, I was able to just redeem all of that and play all of the story, all of the levels in the Hitman 3 engine. So I mean, IO Interactive, I think should be paid attention to. They're a really good developer, and I think that they could make a really good James Bond game. I mean, I don't even know what that would look like, but
So they're not making one, but we want them to make one.
no, they are. They are. No, they.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be GoldenEye. I have no idea if it's going to be anything like GoldenEye. But I mean, the prospect of them developing something would be cool.
That game slapped. That N64 game slapped. That game was insane. Wolfie Jill just brought up two good ones. I'm surprised we didn't talk about Dragon Age 4 and Project Eve. I mean, those we didn't.
I mean, I love Dragon Age, except the second one. But like Dragon Age is another game that I played a lot when I was gonna say younger. Yeah, I was younger. Yeah, college year and like teenage year, I played a lot of Dragon Age. The second one didn't appeal me that much, but like Inquisition was really good. Brilliant. But yeah, I'm also excited for the fourth one. Do we have a release date for it or?
Don't think so. We can double check.
Yeah, Project Eve was in the showcase, right? The PlayStation
showcase.
Yeah.
Dragon Age 4. Yeah, it's still in development. It's upcoming, so it doesn't say. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not positive when Project Eve is coming out, but I know that was in the showcase too. I'm not sure if it's my kind of game looking at it, but I mean we should have. None of us are that excited about it. I'm so sorry. Everybody's unsubscribing. It's like, I want to play that game and you guys aren't excited about it.
I would be interested in playing it at some point, but it's not like the main one for me. It looked fun. The gameplay looked fun. I don't understand the controversy about it, but it looked fun.
Yeah. Is there? I don't know. Is there controversy about it?
Yeah, the character is like too, sexy somehow. Like there's a lot of crouch camera angle, and I'm like, okay, it happens once in a while. It's fine.
When I first saw the trailer, to me, she's kind of designed in like that Japanese.
Yeah.
Little bit of almost like an anime. I mean, she looked the part. I don't know. Somebody's got to complain about something. I don't know. It's
exactly. Either they're too sexy or they're not sexy enough.
Okay, well, Aloy's too fat and this chick's too hot. So, like, what do you want exactly? Right. Like, Abby's too buff. Like, so I don't know what. Don't even get me started on the Anger Boda thing either. So, like, some of you just can't be pleased. So just let the creators make the characters they make and try to enjoy the world that they give us.
Exactly.
Is all I'm going to say there. Matt, did you want to say something?
Well, I was just talking about sexy NPCs. How did we not talk about thick Thor when we talked about God of War Ragnarok? I mean, the
dad bod. That's a dad bod. I'm digging that. What's like dad bod? Yes, dad. People are mad that Thor has a dad bod.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm actually happy that they made him like this because I've read about Thor when I was growing up, and when I've been to Sweden. Like the lady, the museum that I was explaining about, that was talking about the Norse mythology. She was like, oh, like Thor was like this god that would eat a lot and drink a lot. And I always imagined this like fat dude. And he's kind of like big. So I was like, okay, that's good. Like it's how I imagined him. I didn't imagine him as the Thor MCU when I was a kid. You know, I always pictured him like this big, imposing man who will like drink and eat a lot, and this is actually what he does in the Norse mythology. So it makes sense he looks like that.
I agree with you. It
Hmm.
does make sense. And I actually loved, I don't remember what movie it was in when they made Chris Hemsworth wear the, like the fat
Yeah.
Thor.
In Endgame.
Yes, that was fantastic. I liked him better like that. Like to me, that is what Thor looks. And if you look at like the strongest men in the world contest, if you follow that stuff ever,
I do.
those are not little dudes, and they're not like really like lean, cut, muscly dudes. They do not look like that. Those are like beer belly, big,
Yeah.
like Thor really does look in God of War how I think a really big, strong man would. I like it.
Yeah,
I
I think
like
people just forget that Stan Lee and Marvel Comics didn't create Thor. I think people just like assume that like it was an original creation, and they just don't have any idea about the mythology aspect of it, or they think that God of War, that like that Sony Santa Monica made Zeus or something. That some people just aren't aware.
You're probably right. People probably associate it with what they know it from,
That's
which
actually true and quite surprising because again, I like I said, I love mythology, and so when I see that people are like, "Oh, don't make this the character like that or like this," I'm like, "But it's canon. Like he is like that. Or she is like that in the mythology." And I was like, "What mythology?" Like they don't really know that. They just think that it's a movie or like a TV show or like a comic. And I'm like, no. There's from a religion back then that their character were like that, and they made them into MCU character. It's just or into a TV show. So it was funny to me. I always like going to like heated arguments about that. I got into one when like someone was like, "Oh, don't make Kratos gay," and I'm like, "He's a Spartan."
that's
Yeah,
true.
he's through
That is
ancient
true.
Greece. This
Like,
That is
or like the funny one was like Loki. Oh, they're like, "Oh, don't make Atreus like gay," and I'm like, the dude is Loki. Like he fucked everything. Like the guy is the father of a snake, a horse, and like a
giant
freaking
wolf.
wolf.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's like interestingly enough, the little girl character, well, she's probably a teenager, but the in the trailer for God of War, I
yeah,
looked it up, and the name of that character is actually the mother of his children.
yeah, the mother of the
Spoiler.
monsters.
Yeah,
Angerboda.
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah.
she was also. If you played through Valhalla, Angerboda was also in Valhalla, which had heavy Norse mythology. They just had different depictions of what that character looked like. I had a thought in my head, and me. When I play video games, if you give me a choice, I will 100% be a whore. I will sleep with everybody. I will sleep with. I don't care. Like ghoul, alien. Like I totally down in video games. I'm like trisexual. I will try it with any character you will let me get with. It's just but it's part of like the fantasy. It's fun for me. I don't get why people get so bent out of shape over stuff that's like it's not even real. Like it's not real, people. It's not real. So one more
Once
here. Lycon, Pictus, Pokemon Shining Pearl. That's a game he's hyped for. Dana, what were you saying?
I was talking about again, like sex scenes, like in Andromeda, they were kind of weird. I'm sorry, like some of the aliens were too much for me. I was like, no, this is too ugly. I can't.
I'll still hit it. It's a video game. It's fiction. So like if I insert myself as that character, like when I'm I could like in ancient Greece as Cassandra or Alexios. I could
Yeah.
die any minute. If Alcibiades wants me to like hook up with him and two goats, I'm doing it. Or like in Cyberpunk. I mean, I don't like if River wants to smash, we're smashing. Like or Mass Effect, like alien species. Like what's the oh my god. We didn't
Bluehead
talk
ladies.
we didn't talk about this game, but I think a lot of people also aren't that hype about Ubisoft anyway. It was basically Pocahontas with blue alien people. Avatar.
Oh, yeah.
Avatar. I'm sorry. I know it's Ubisoft. It's just like okay, we'll
Wait,
see.
Ubisoft is making it?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Why do you think it didn't come up? I'm sorry. Unsubscribe. I don't know if I suspect people would be more hype if it wasn't Ubisoft because in my mind it's going to be like Far Cry with blue people. Far Cry's not bad, but you get the point. Yeah, Avatar. I would like I don't care that she's blue and like has the weird hair. I'd in a video game be like, yeah, I'm getting that. It's a
Did you
game.
watch the movies? The movie, sorry?
I watched.
It's based off the movie, yeah.
Yes, but I think they're making like 400 new Avatar movies.
Yeah, but like
Um,
it's
Yeah.
I'll probably be dead when it's come out.
I
Yeah,
don't
2009 that
know.
movie came out.
I mean, visually the movie is stunning. I think it's great, like the special effects that they did, but the story did not hit unobtainium. Really,
I don't remember the
unobtainium.
story.
There's a reason why.
There's a reason.
It's like it's literally Pocahontas with blue people. It's the same exact story. It's
Yeah,
Pocahontas.
now that you said it, yeah. It's just the dude is like he was in a wheelchair
Yeah,
somehow.
he's disabled, and then his brother. He replaces his brother in their experiment, and he's disabled, and then he starts going into the Avatar body, and by the end of it, he abandons his human body. He's just in the Avatar body. And then really the thing to consider there, though, is that the movie came out in 2009, a year after Iron Man, and look at where the MCU is, and look where Avatar is. There's been nothing with Avatar, but now Disney owns Avatar now.
But Avatar was a beautiful world. Like the special effects and CGI were phenomenal. That was the reason I've watched it. But the movie itself was I don't know. If you don't like it, you can hit me up in the comments and like try to convince me. But unobtainium. That's like how clever you are. Is well, this is a mineral I can't get, so I'm going to call it unobtainium. And then like homeboy sneaks in there, smashes it with the blue chick. She's very hot for a blue alien chick. Oh, we mate for life. Haha. It's like, whoa. Wait, I don't know. I'm
I don't
sorry.
remember anything from it. I
Yeah.
watched it. I mean, it's been like what a lot. I mean, I watched it in 2009 in the TV in the cinema, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And that's it. I forgot about it.
That's all the special effects is really the best part. The hair thing was weird. I was like, really? That's how you're gonna like hair? Like dendrites? I don't get
Smash with hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the whole, with their like
They don't
the
even
animals that they would ride too.
Yeah, they don't they don't rub pocketbooks like in a physical way. They have like dendrites in their hair, which is kind of like the same thing we have in our brains, and their hair's like connects, and they're like, ooh, that's how they. I know. I look on your.
Oh,
This is
wow.
why
I'm
you
like, I don't remember anything. I have to watch it again because I'm like,
see. Watch it again, and now that we've talked about this and made fun, like teased about it, you're gonna watch it and laugh your ass off, and then you have to tell us about it.
I mean, I was a kid back. I mean, I was a teenager, so I don't think that I understood what was happening.
Well, you probably also haven't seen people have sexual relations through their hair either. But I mean, they are aliens, so I
Then
guess
again, in Morocco, they censor the movies, so it's like they censor the kisses and stuff. So then you have like weird cuts.
they would censor hair sex.
They censor anything that is like back in the day. They will censor anything that is related to sex. So kisses and like even if you like, they just remove it.
Really?
Yeah.
So maybe it's literally the ends of their hair grew these really small tentacles. They look like dendrites in the brain when your neurotransmitters are communicating. So I think that's what they were trying to do. And I get they're aliens, so they're creative. Like I'm cool with that. But like their hair would connect, and then they would, I guess, feel each other like they were somehow just watch it. Watch the regular non-edited version, and now that we've teased about it, like watch it and then message me, because I have to know what it's like to have this conversation and then go back and watch it. So before we wrap up, I think we pretty much covered what's to come over the next. You think like we got it all for the most part, or got like a lot of the hypey
pretty
stuff?
One last one, just to say something positive about Ubisoft, is that they're going to be doing a Star Wars game, and that could be good. That could be cool.
Really?
Yeah, I heard that at least. Yeah.
How am I missing all this? When have I been asleep when all this shit is coming out? This is like the 40th thing that I didn't know today in one episode. Why would you? Ubisoft is doing a Star Wars game.
Yeah, it's because EA had the exclusive rights to Star Wars for a really long time, and the only thing they did with it is Battlefield. Star Wars Battlefront.
Battlefront.
The only thing was Battlefront, and then that really good Jedi game that came out, but they didn't. They like had one of their own like developers do it.
That was good.
That was a good game. But yeah, they're like that's why Sony now is doing a KOTOR remake. I'm assuming because they're trying to branch out. Lucasfilm is like I think that now there's like a Lucasfilm Games or something like that. and they announced that they're going to work with Ubisoft to do like some kind of Star Wars property. So like that could be cool. I mean, hopefully. I mean, it's going to be monetized. Microtransactions bullshit, but hopefully, let's try to be positive. Hopefully, it'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. New games are great, remakes are great, all the systems are great. Ubisoft has done some great things. It's just they've had some rough stuff lately, but they're a successful company for a reason, and I'm sure the new Far Cry will be fun, and they'll put out some titles that are going to be great. So yeah, let's go ahead and Matt, if you will share your Twitter handle for the people that aren't. If you watch on YouTube, you'll see the links in the pinned post below. But some people are listening to this as a podcast, so if you would say where people can find you on Twitter so they can connect with you.
On Twitter, I am Slice Jordan.
Slice Jordan, like you're cutting into a fruit and the second greatest basketball player of all time. Yes, I just said that.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. It was a playoff of. I used to work in a deli, so it's like I used to play a game where we would try to get like the perfect whatever they asked for 1 pound. We would try to do it in one go, and if you could do it, you were on point. And one day I got like a bunch of them. And I looked at my friend and I was like, "That's why they call me Slice Jordan," because I was looking for a verb for like air. When you do in a deli, you slice. So.
I didn't even think to ask you how you came up with that. I like that. Dana, where can the folks follow you on Twitter? What's your handle?
It's Blind Guardian DC.
Blind Guardian DC.
Yeah.
Okay. Blind Guardian DC. Well, thank you for being here. What a fun episode. It's always nice to talk about hype and get hype. If anybody isn't connected to me and you're driving down the road really fast and want to grab some notes out of your console and write at the next red light, you can find me at C Smith Shine. So again, thanks for watching the Game Junkie Show, and we will see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.